Hello everybody, welcome back. Got another video for you. This time I'm playing Brigandine, the Legend of Runersia. I don't know if I'm probably not saying that right, but as is usual for me. But alright, so I'm gonna do a little breakdown on the units. Now, I absolutely love well, I should say I like this version of Brigandine, but I also like the older ones as well, especially the one basically there was a Legend of Forcena, I think it was, and then there was the Grand Edition, which was basically an upgraded version of Forcena, and I think that this is basically an upgrade in pretty much every way, as far as I can tell, which makes sense. We're not in the PlayStation era anymore. That's like 20 years ago. So I would, it'd be pretty not so great if there weren't some improvements. But anyways, let's do a little breakdown on the units. There's definitely some similarity, in my opinion, in I guess my opinions on the strength of the units from the old version to this one. So basically, I've kind of done like 4 tiers here, and I just noticed now that these are not correct. My two I had this set up a little bit wrong, or well, I think it's because these two, for whatever reason, these two runettes keep flipping around on me. Anyways, so let's talk. So this is the like top tier here is these guys, and then I'm gonna do like 4 tiers. I could probably do a little bit more, but I'm just gonna do 4. So let's start with the Gremlin here. The Gremlin, in my opinion, and now this is actually an upgrade. This is a tier 2 unit. The original is, I think it's called the Imp, and it's basically the same as the Pixie from the older version, and actually these ones are basically the exact same as the Grand Edition. The Grand Edition Pixie was even better than the base edition, but let's do so the Imp only has stick tap, which is if you're using its melee attack, something has gone horribly wrong, or something has gone so incredibly right where you can afford to be just using this. It's actually, I think, a bit of a downgrade, because the Pixie had a when it would crit, it would sometimes charm enemies, but that's gone, unfortunately. So no dice on that. Just the normal stick tap. When it upgrades the Gremlin, though, I know, so it uses Terror Voice. I don't like this ability. It says it deals minor damage to all enemies within a 2 hex radius, and it never misses. 20% of inflicting faint. Now that I guess is cool if you're somehow surrounded, but again, if you've found yourself in that position, things haven't gone right at all. And I think generally, when I think about the usefulness of units, and probably a lot of it's because of the way that I play, I don't find these like AoE type skills to be all that useful. At least the ones that can hit your allies. If it's just an AoE that can only harm enemies, then that's fine. But this one, all units, that's not good. So that's going to hit your friendly units as well. So again, I just don't think that's so great. But the real reason why the Imps are so good is their spell list. So React is one of the best abilities in the game. It grants an extra action to a single ally unit within a 2x radius, and the effect does not stack. Now, the fact that you can basically just give another really hard-hitting unit 2 turns back-to-back is what makes that so good. Unfortunately, though, it is very, very expensive. Let's go back into that. Where did that go? Oh, what the heck? I can't see what my... Oh, that's because I'm in the wrong thing. There we go. Yeah, so here we can actually take a look now. So like, you know, stick hit. Oops, I should... Yeah, this is fine. Stick hit, you know, not very power, 100 power. That's pretty weak. Actually, Terror Voice is really weak as well. The elements, these guys are green element, which is actually really, really good. It's one of the, in my opinion, the better elements in the game, because there's, I don't know, it's just, I don't really like going like, you know, red elements, because when you're up against another, you know, for like a dragon, for instance, well, you're going to be doing a lot less damage because of those elements. But it seems like green elements hold up pretty well, and they just generally do really good damage. But anyway, so Thunder, one of the best abilities as well. So like, you know, React again, now you can see they're 136 MP. The problem with these guys is they just don't have that much MP. Even like completely maxed out at level 30, their MP is just not that good. You're probably only ever going to be able to do 1, maybe 2 casts of React. Again, because their MP total is so poor. One of the things that you can do, though, to help them out with that is to equip some gear that's got a little bit. But you're not going to get a whole lot out of your gear either. But one of the reasons why I think the imps are so good is because of Thunder. You know, at the end of the game, you're probably going to be able to cast Thunder. I mean, you can definitely at least cast it twice. Maybe you might even be able to get 3 casts out of it. And the fact that these units are so cheap, I mean, 40 rune cost, and they pack such a punch with Thunder, and again, and React is again really good as well. Silent is okay. This is gonna miss a lot, and so, and actually a lot of I noticed a lot of the enemies that you go up against, especially the Rune Knights, will just be immune to Silent. So this isn't as great. The range is amazing though. So generally, I like to keep my I like to do like a front line, and then at the beginning of the game when these guys are just their base class and they only have, because they'll only have Silent and Protect. Basically, I like to keep them all the way, like way back, and sometimes I'll use Silent, but I'll often just use Protect. But again, the thing that makes this really good is because the range is so good, so you can still reach into the enemy lines fairly well with Silent. And then again, as I was saying, especially at the beginning of the game, Protect is an amazing skill. Honestly, so I think that when you're making groups, or when I make my groups, I basically have a gremlin in every single one of my groups because they're just so useful. Again, between, you know, Protect, Thunder, and React, they're just fantastic. And then on top of that, they're cheap. Again, the only real problem though is the lack of MP. So this guy's only got 218 at level 10. But that's, you know, that's one cast of React, and then a little bit more on top of that. You could probably cast a Protect after that. But once you get into the like, you know, 15 to 20 range, you're gonna be able to do a React and probably a Thunder each battle. All right, so let's move on here. Unicorns. I think that, and similarly to the Gremlin, because they're so cheap, that makes them really good. You know what though? You know what? Here, sorry. I want to do one last thing here before I move on to the unicorns. So the volcano, so I should say just the gear in general here. I go with the volcano one. You know, I hesitate to bring the equipment up because most of this stuff is just going to be so difficult to get. At least at the beginning of the game, and then once you're actually you start getting some of this stuff, you know, it doesn't really matter that much. And honestly, that's the one thing I think about the equipment is it's just, you know, it's nice. It's really nice when you can get this stuff, but it's tough to get because of the way the quest system works. So that's why I kind of hesitate to even bring up this stuff. But this is some of the best equipment in my opinion. Is like the volcano wand. Here's the Nightmare Cloak. It's got a little bit of evasion on it, which is okay, but also it inflicts charm immunity, which is pretty nice. And then here's the Nightmare Hat, you know, just a little bit more evasion. that's really for, you know, somebody's trying to I don't know, it's usually an archer that's trying to shoot into the, you know, into my back lines, and so that you know, having a little bit of extra defense kind of helps out. But all right, anyways, let's go back onto the unicorn. Unicorns are cheap, amazing healers. I really like these guys a lot. This is again similar to the Gremlins. These guys, I basically put one in every single one of my groups. So at the beginning of the game, they only will have heal and cure. But you can see the range here is pretty good as well. So these guys do really, really well in like so I usually do like a front line and then a mid line and then a rear. And the rear is where I usually have all of these guys. And they can generally hit almost all of my, you know, members depending on where I'm at. And that's, again, mostly, though, because of the way that I set up. I generally try to not rush enemies. That's just, like, strategically speaking, not the best way to set up, because then your casters aren't going to be able to cast, right? Because most of the time they are not able to cast after they've moved. So, anyways, so horn attack, you know, these are not physical attackers. Again, it's kind of the same deal that I was saying with the Gremlin. If you're relying on your melee attack, something has probably gone wrong, or very, very right, and you're just trying to, you know, finish off something that's got just a sliver of health. But again, so heal, amazing, you know, one of the best spells in the game, or in my opinion, the most used anyway. And then actually cure as well is amazing. Removes, you know, status effects: poison, paralyze, faint, charm, petrify, and silence. So very, very important stuff. I'm going to use an up. Oh no, let's not. I'll just go into the class change part. So you can do one of two routes here. You can go Pegasus or Nightmare. I think Nightmares are garbage. I never upgrade into Nightmare. I always go Pegasus. And so let's take a look here. So as far as skills, Skyhorn, this will do a little bit more. You know what? Let's actually use this. Sorry about that. Let's do Jesus. I'm just sorry about that. Getting some there we go. I'm tired, and my mastery of menus falls off severely once I start getting tired. All right, so let's take a look now. All right, so I've upgraded this one into a Pegasus, and you can see here the power goes up just a little bit, but again, this is garbage. You know, they're not going to be doing much physical damage, and they do change to a sky type, which makes it a little bit easier for them to get around. But here's one of the most important things. So when they upgrade, they get Halo. So it says it guarantees the next skill or spell of one ally unit within a 4-hex radius will hit. Target unit will also gain 1.5 times the experience. Ideally, you use Halo right as you're about to finish off an enemy, and that will really help your leveling process out. This is the cheapest unit that can use Halo. And Halo is very, very important for leveling up. I mean, just generally, like across the board, but especially good for leveling up your Rune Knights. And so, again, I think that these guys are a must-have. They're just too good, and Halo is just amazing. All right, so let's reload here. You know, I don't know if I want to do this every time. Let's, yeah, maybe I just won't use the upgrade item, and I'll go through the menu instead. I'm not really feeling that. And my guess is my tier list got messed up here. Let's just redo this. There we go. Okay. All right, so let's go back into the unicorn here. All right, so we'll talk Nightmare next. So Wildhorn does a little bit more damage than the Pegasus, but again, who cares? If you're using, you know, melee attacks with these guys, it's not going well. One interesting thing here, though, is that it does push back, which is actually kind of nice. There's a few enemies or a few units in the game that can do pushbacks, And that's going to make it so that generally the enemy won't be able to counterattack, but that's only if the space behind the enemy is empty. You know, if either one of your characters or another enemy character is kind of right behind that the enemy, you won't get the pushback, and then you will get counterattacked, and so you have to be careful with that. But anyways, all right, so it's kind of interesting here. The Nightmare goes, when it upgrades, it gets weakness, and then it gets magic down. These got changed if you're familiar with the old version of the game. I think they had weakness before, but they didn't have magic down. They had dimension, I believe it was, which teleported enemies away, but the success rate was always pretty bad about that. So this is probably better. It says it reduces the magic power and resistance of a single enemy unit within a 4 hex radius for 3 turns. I'll be honest, this actually is really good. Being able to do a bit more magic damage to enemies is really useful, especially, magic is great because it doesn't, I want to say that it doesn't miss, but I could have swore don't quote me on that. I want to be very hesitant on that. I know for sure there is a ability that will block one magic effect, but I don't know if you can just straight up miss. Man, yeah, I'm drawing a blank now. So sorry about that, but I just, in the back of my head, I'm thinking about, I know in a couple of instances, I could have swore an enemy maybe it was a physical attack that they were trying on me and it missed. Because I don't think actual magic abilities miss, but, yeah, I don't know. Now I want to be really hesitant on saying that, but, generally also the abilities in this game where they can or can't miss, they'll actually be listed. There's a lot of abilities that just cannot miss, which is kind of interesting, but, anyways, all right, so, yeah, again, pretty good ability here. But again, I don't think that this is worth taking a Nightmare over a Pegasus. All right, so let's go. Let's move on here to the Angel. I really like the Angels. The problem with them is they're so expensive. They're God, are these guys yeah, I think they're the most expensive units in the game actually, next to the demons. Yeah, but they're great. All right, so let's take a look here at their skills. So Saint Split normally, so it deals moderate damage to a single adjacent enemy unit. I mean, nothing too fancy. And I'll be honest, I think that the Angels don't have a whole lot of, I don't think they have enough HP to make them good frontline fighters, and really ever. In the like the Grand Edition and in the original, I think that these guys, once you leveled them up enough, they made okay frontliners, but because of the way that, well, I guess the changes or the upgrades or however you want to put it, I just don't think that that's the case, and I just don't think that they make very good frontliners. They're more like a second tier or a second line enemy, I guess, before, but right behind your tanks and stuff. All right, so they get Loop, Heal, and Divine Ray. So Loop Heal is basically just a regeneration effect. Restores 10% of max HP at the start of each turn for 4 turns. That's okay. I don't love that though. It's just in this game it's so easy, and I guess really actually it's probably a lot of games where you really want to focus fire, and if the enemy AI is smart at all, or if you're not playing just on easy, focusing on you is going to be the way to go. And so Loop Heal though is really probably the best on like super heavy tanks, something that is going to make use out of getting that HP every round, and then on top of that something that's just really inherently already really difficult to break down or to take down. So second thing, so otherwise it's Divine Ray. Divine Ray is amazing. This is one of the strongest magical, like single target magic spells in the game. I really like this one, and it actually makes it so that our angels you can do a lot of kill shots with them, which makes them a lot easier to level up. So these guys are really honestly amazing. All right, so their upgraded version is the Archangel, and that's obviously level 10. So here you get Shining Split, so it deals moderate damage to a single enemy or adjacent enemy unit. Nah, I don't usually use melee attacks with them. So, and then they gain the heal spell, which amazing. To be honest though, I usually I'm usually healing with my Pegasus, and so these the archangels don't usually use the heal spell very much. But then they also do get Holy Word. So Holy Word has the best range of like any AoE spell in the game, unless you want to consider Meteor Doom has got a really good range as well. But this is just an AoE based around the Archangel itself. And the only problem is it seems to me that the AoEs in this version of the game are a lot weaker. They used to be really, really devastating, especially, I mean, Holy Word used to feel really, really powerful, but it just seems like all of the different AoEs in the game, they seem to have been either nerfed or it's just maybe everything else has maybe a little bit more health now or something. So, just not as useful, I would say, as it used to, but the AoE range on this actually is, phenomenal. Alright, so let's see here. Let's do Seraph last. So the Seraph actually gets an interesting ability called Holy Impulse. This is kind of useful for if you've already run out of magic, but deals, or MP I should say, deals a moderate amount of single enemy unit within a 3 hex radius. So really, really good range on this. And it's actually free. It doesn't actually cost any MP, so that's a really good ability. I'm actually going to do this. I don't really like trying to explain this without actually being able to see the range on this kind of stuff. So I'm just going to, I'm going to upgrade this. Oops, because I keep doing the wrong thing. There we go. Okay, so I've got some items that just allow you to upgrade your monsters, right away. Yeah, so let's do, let's take a look at this guy now. Let's do there we are. All right, so this is still the tier 2. So Shining Split, 110 power, heal. Here's the range you can see on Holy Word is amazing. So that's, that is a massive, massive AoE. The power though, again, 60. That is really, really weak. And it's also very expensive for MP, so 198. It does actually say that it deals ultimate damage to zombie monsters, but zombies are garbage anyway, and so the fact that it does, amazing damage to the zombie monsters isn't all that impressive anyway. All right, so let's upgrade this guy to the final tier, which is the Seraph. I'm actually a little bit disappointed because in the original and the Grand Edition, you could actually upgrade the Seraphs even one more time. To I think it was called Lucifer, which actually let them cast, I believe it was Meteor Doom, but you just can't do that this time around. So I'll be honest, I think that the Seraphs are kind of weaker versions of the other or of the same unit from the other game, which again is a little unfortunate. But all right, so let's take a look here at their abilities. So Rising Punishment, Holy Impulse, that was the, again, this is free, which is nice. So this is an okay ability once you've actually run out of MP. The only problem is you lose a little bit of accuracy, and I did notice that this misses a lot. In there, you can't use it after you've moved as well, which is kind of a drag. But here they get area heal. That's amazing. Pretty expensive though, 150 MP, but these guys can make some, they can make really, really good healers now once they've finally got to their 3rd tier. Veil, I'll be honest, I barely ever use Veil, but this is pretty interesting. Covers a single ally unit within a 3 hex radius in a Veil that will nullify all damage and effects of the next magic attack received. That actually is pretty good. So, an 86 MP, not too bad. It's just normally when I'm, playing, I'm nuking with these guys or healing, and so I usually don't use that a whole lot. Here's Loop Heal again. Again, 40 MP. That's actually really, really cheap for this ability, and it's got an amazing range as well. Again, there's Divine Ray and then Holy Word. All right, so that is it for the Angel. Let's talk about their equipment a little bit. So they've got some interesting stuff here. I actually think that so the Blade of Durandal is probably it's arguable. It's probably the best though. Accuracy 5%, magic resistance 5%. That's actually really good. Where's the Blade of Erendite? Oh, I'm equipped with it. All right. So this has got counter damage 5%. Attack 13, 5 defense, and HP 20. So this is definitely if you've got your Angel on the front line. Again, I don't really like that though. I just don't think that they're beefy enough to be on the front line. So I would rather use like the Blade of Durandal, honestly. The backup option would be the 7 stars Cutlass. You know, passive skill inflict charm. So every once in a while, you know, when you hit with these guys, you know, you'll charm the enemy. Now, I actually haven't tested whether or not you can inflict charm using their, you know, free range skill or not. So I'm not sure on that. I really should have done that, but that would be a little bit interesting, and that would make it a little bit. You can make a little bit more of a case for this one, but honestly, I just think that it's better probably to go with the defensive stats, and I keep hitting the wrong button. Use like the defensive stats and, you know, keep them, you know, on your back row and not have them on the front line. I just don't think they're good enough. Nightmare Cloak is okay. I think the Earthen Cloak is actually better because it gives you a 10% evasion. So again, kind of nice for you know, physical attackers trying to beat up on you. And then the helmet, I would actually say you want to go with something like probably the Water God Tiara because it gives you charm immunity. That is kind of redundant though if you go with the which I think is pretty much the best accessory for monsters is the protection band, because it inflicts inorganic body, which makes you immune to all status effects. So you know, that Water God Tiara then would be redundant. This one, it does have the 1 mobility, which is kind of nice, but they're you know, flying type enemy or monsters anyway, so they don't have problems really with mobility. In which case, the Nightmare Hat is probably just better. All right, moving on. Let's talk the demon. Evil Spike. I believe this does a little bit more damage than the base for the Angel. But you know, honestly, I don't think that you should be. Or you really don't want to be, you know, meleeing, because these guys just are not, they don't have the defensive stats that you really need. Venom, I think that Poison is the worst status effect in the game. This is okay for if you're about to finish something off, and you know that you're going to be able to finish them off with this Venom spell. The problem with Venom is if the enemy dies to poison damage, you lose all of the experience. And so that's why I don't like Venom. It is good though, because it's so cheap and it does damage over time. So like, you know, poisoning a knight, for instance, or like a paladin or a dark knight, actually is pretty nice, right? Because you can get them to tick down their HP over a couple of turns, because you know, they're knights and they're difficult to take down. So that's at least something that's kind of nice about them. And then Curse, though, this is the big stuff. This is basically the demon's version of Divine Ray. Curse is amazing. You know, 160 power, pretty expensive though, 108 MP. But again, very, very important. And this is these things are amazing for taking down Rudo. Rudo is a white elemental ruler, and he is freaking brutal. You know, he's got very, very strong melee attack, and so the optimal way to take him down is via magic, and the demons wreck him. So very, very important unit. Let's get this thing upgraded. Let's take a look at the archdemon. There we are. All right, so demon spike, 110 power. You know, a little bit better. Pretty good accuracy on that. Dimension, I never cast this. Forcefully move a single enemy within a 4-hex radius anywhere on the battlefield. I mean, that could be good. It's very expensive and it misses a lot. So I tend to, you know, not use that. Gravity, also one of the abilities I barely ever use. Actually, I don't even know if I've cast this yet in all the time that I've played already. Changes preferred terrain of a single enemy unit within a 4x radius to planes and lowers their agility. Effect lasts for 3 turns or until target is hit with a spell break. It's just, you know, you've only got so much MP to be casting. And I do like that this lowers the you know, the agility. And so if you've got a monster that's got a, you know, really good agility stat, or I guess a knight as well, this would be, you know, okay, because then you could hopefully burn him down and connect a little bit more. But then again, you've, you know, got venom and curse still. All right, let's get this thing fully upgraded here to the Lilith, and we'll take a look here. Oops, there we are. All right. Dark Pressure. Moderate damage to a single adjacent enemy unit. 125 power. That's getting pretty good. And then Sweet Temptation. Deals major damage to a single adjacent enemy unit. 25% chance of inflicting charm. That's a pretty good ability, honestly. You know, again though, ideally you don't wanna be on the front lines with these, but I say that, but that is the best actually place to be casting Meteor Doom. Meteor Doom, unfortunately, unless you're on the front line, you're most likely going to be hitting your allies with this spell, just because of the way that you cast. You know, you target it, and then, you know, it's just, again, unless you're on the front lines, you're most likely going to be smoking your own characters. Now, that said, it's very, the AoE is massive on it, and, you know, the power is pretty good, 110. I mean, it's still, honestly, I'll be honest, I think that Meteor Doom is a lot weaker in this version of the game than in, you know, prior iterations. I remember, like, basically wiping out entire groups of enemies, you know, with, like, 2 casts of this. Back in the other versions of the game, but that is just not that's not going to happen this time around. You know what? I love the spell still, but you know, because it can really reach into the back lines of the enemies. But 300 MP, you're not really likely to be casting this that much. And it also depends on what level your Lilith is. You're probably only going to get 1 cast out of this though, because it's just so expensive. Maybe later on in the game, you might be able maybe to get 2, but you also might need to put, you know, the items that actually give you MP onto that. So, all right, moving on. Venom, same curse, dimension, gravity. So nothing else. The only thing that gets added is Meteor Doom. But again, I think that you know, unfortunately, you want these on the front line because otherwise you're going to be hitting your own troops. But also they are incredibly weak, and so it's tough to keep them on the front lines. So all right, as far as gear goes, now they get I suppose they have little horse hooves, right? So I suppose this kind of makes sense, but I think that the White Tempest is probably the best. So it gives you the 10 defense, which you know you need because again, you're probably going to be on the front line, or ideally you are, and then 30 MP. So. You know, 1/10 of the MP that you need for Meteor Doom, but it's something. And then it gives you the 15 intelligence. The other option is just not as good, the Elegant Soul. So, you know, more attack, okay, but who cares? And then 10 intelligence, and then, you know, 10 less MP, so not good. And then kind of the same thing here as some of the other enemy or the other units. The Earthen Cloak is probably their best chest piece. Nightmare Hat is going to work, but you know, probably another good option is the Water God Tiara if you need that charm immunity, which you probably do. Otherwise, you know, you can always hook them up with the protection band. There just isn't that much else, you know, that's that great for them. The Adamantine band is okay as well because it gives you the 30 magic resist, but yeah, I don't know, it's tough. These guys are, again, unfortunately geared because of Meteor Doom toward the front line, but it's just tough to keep them there for very long. A protect spell, I suppose, will go a long ways as well. But all right, let's move on here. So I would say as far as my top tier list, My last one for the top tier is actually the Wyvern. That maybe seems a little bit weird, but they're like a mid-cost unit, so, you know, 60, I believe it is, right? Is it 60? I think it's 60. Where am I? Oh, I'm in the wrong thing. It's in the wrong thing. There it is, yeah, 60. So yeah, you know, mid-tier, they're a flyer, so it's easier to get them around the battlefield quickly. Here's Tail Whip. That's an okay. That's you know, an okay attack. 100 power and then +5 accuracy is pretty nice. Nothing else really fancy about these guys. They, yeah, that's it. I mean, they're about as basic as you can get. But as far as their, you know, they've got okay health. They've got pretty good agility as well. So it's, you know, they're a little bit more evasive than something like a dragon is. And obviously also a little bit cheaper. But, you know, at the beginning of the game, you know, they'll make okay frontliners, but they're lacking in, you know, a little bit of HP or like the dragon. But again, they're a little bit cheaper, but I like that they're a lot more evasive. And actually they've got some really interesting equipment, although I suppose this is probably the same as a dragon, but the lightning talons, I think, is their best weapon, and this is actually really important. You know, unfortunately, you probably aren't going to be getting these until later on in the game, but when you do get them, they can inflict feint, and that, you know, that's basically a stun until they get, or like until that enemy takes damage again. But this is amazing. They, you know, oftentimes the Wyverns, again, because I use them on the front line, will also be taking hits a lot, and so they'll be countering and oftentimes using feint. So that's great. Here, your other option actually is the Onyx Claws. I don't like these as much. It inflicts silence, but you know, most of the time, if you're, you know, the enemies that you want to silence aren't usually on the front lines, and so, you know, and I don't think it's very wise to be overextending these guys to try to, you know, get a piece of a caster, you know, because you're going to be putting yourself at quite a bit of risk. But as far as armor here, so I just go with, you know, Azure Scale Cuirass is okay. It gives you the 5% evasion. It does give you the 1 extra mobility, a little bit more defense, and then some HP. So good, you know, tanking stats or frontline stats. And then the gloves here as well. A little bit of defense, a little bit of evasion. The shield block rate's not important, so you can actually equip something else that's just got you know, like 5 evasion. So like these mongrel gloves are actually better, you know, because you'll actually get a little bit more HP out of that. And then as far as your accessory, actually you can do protection band if you want, right, for the inorganic body and make them immune to status effects. Or what I prefer to do is actually use the deadly band, get 20% extra crit and then 20% more crit damage. They've got enough, you know, defense and HP actually to kind of make up for the little bit of loss, and I think that it's very much worth it. So that is how I equip them. All right, let's get them upgraded, or get this guy upgraded, and take a look at his different forms and stuff. All right, so here, if you notice here, he's got inflict feint, and that's from the lightning talons. 20% chance. It's pretty freaking good. That's why these guys are, or one of the reasons why they're so good. But anyways, you know, that is unfortunately though gear dependent. So tail chain, this gets upgraded just a little bit, not too impressive, but also gets dragon roar. I don't ever use dragon roar, I'll be honest. Reduces MP of all adjacent units by 50%. I just don't use monsters this way at all, where like you're rushing to them and then, you know, well, that doesn't work anyway, because this you after you've moved, you can't use this ability. So you know, again, I don't think that this is a good ability at all. But was that it? Yeah, that's it. Okay. Yeah, these guys are just so basic. It's just that they're so cheap, and I like their evasion. I should say, I really like units that are able to evade really well. I think that's one of the most important aspects of the game, right? Like, if you can evade a lot, you don't need to rely so much on your defensive stats. So, all right, let's get him upgraded to his final form, which is the Bahamut. And let's take a look here. Oops, I'm doing the wrong thing again, because, of course, I should not be doing this video when I'm so tired, but I'm going to anyway. We're going to power through it. Alright, so tail impact. So another, upgraded just a little bit here to do a little bit more damage. So moderate damage to single enemy unit. Dragon Roar, again, that stays the same. But then it does get a Calamity Breath. So Calamity Breath, unfortunately, most of the breath attacks in this game is not very good. Only 80 for its power, and it can't be used after it's moved. But it does have a really good range, though, 1 to 4. So, not too bad. And then the MP cost isn't too bad, though, either. I don't know, even at level 1, look at my stats here at level 1. I can actually cast that breath attack 3 times? That seems so whack. Oh, not quite. Okay, it's 55. My bad. Why did I think it was 50? Well, I can almost cast that 3 times already, even at level 1, so, a couple of levels and we'll more than, easily be able to cast that 3 times. But again, pretty weak, but I just think it's great because, you can sit on the front line and you're probably going to be countering a lot. Hopefully you can get, a feint to trigger. Although, again, that's unfortunately gear dependent. And then also, I should say, so they actually do get double movement. So, that's okay. So you can actually, fly out to an enemy, smack them, and then fly back if you haven't moved too far. So that actually is kind of useful. It's basically, I hate that it's called this though. I know in the other versions of the game, I know at one point, and I can't remember if it was the Grand Edition, but one of them was hit and away, which was okay, but hit and run is like right there in front of you. That's just a great. Why isn't it called hit? I don't know. Why is it not called that? Come on, guys. It was a huge missed opportunity. All right, so that's my, in my opinion, that's my first, or my top tier list. Again, it may seem weird that the Bahamut is here, but I just think it's because they're fairly cheap still. And they do eventually get a breath attack. Yeah, it stinks that you have to wait all the way until they're basically level 20 to get it, but, I don't know. It's not that strong anyway, and so it's kind of like me. But all right, so let's move on here. I don't actually think that this guy is number 1. This probably goes more like this. Mandrakes are amazing. I struggle on whether or not I should have added these guys to the top tier, but yeah, I don't know. It's tough because they're I don't know. Yeah, it's a tough one. These guys really are good. A little bit more expensive than the base level Bahamut, or well, Wyvern, I guess they're called. But all right, so let's take a look at these guys. And why are they so freaking good? Well, they just are. Okay. All right. So they have Paralyze immunity. Paralyze is the most debilitating, and Petrify is probably just a little bit worse, but not a whole lot of things can petrify you. Whereas there's a lot of enemies that'll be able to use Paralyze. And so the fact that these guys can't be paralyzed is pretty great. And then actually they recover HP in the forest. There's forests everywhere. There's a lot of enemies that have some location-specific abilities like this. There's a couple that have, HP recovery, but only while they're in the water. And so they're not as, useful, but there's a lot of forests around, so it's actually pretty easy to find a spot for these guys to get that. God, I just realized how creepy these look. It's like some weird creepy eyeball thing on the bottom there. That's gross. And then I actually have HP Recover A, but that's because I'm getting that from the Wild Fangs. So, at the beginning of the game, you're not going to be able to get that, but having multiple instances of this is amazing. And so that's one of the reasons why, oops, well, I have 2 different items. So these don't actually stack, so if you notice here, the Wild Fangs have Inflict HP Recover A, and the Adamantine armor has it as well. Those don't, unfortunately, they don't stack, but the Forest HP Recover and the HP Recover, I believe, do. I actually, now that I realize, I haven't actually tried that. But they should, right? There's 2 separate instances here. So all right. Anyways, let's move on. But yeah, like these are amazing passive abilities. So numb bite. So this is when you're obviously right next to the enemy. 20% chance of inflicting paralyzed though. It stinks that you can't count on this all that often. But when it does happen, it's amazing. And I would rather have a chance to inflict paralyze than not have a chance to inflict paralyze. Here's numb powder. Minor damage to a single enemy unit within 2x radius. 20% of inflicting paralyze. So it's the same chance, but you can actually use this from a range. The only problem is you lose a little bit of accuracy and a little bit of power as well. But if you use this from on an enemy that's a little bit or not directly adjacent to you, you won't get countered though either. So pretty nice. Yeah, I feel like I should have put these guys in the top tier, but it's too late now. There's no going back. All right, so the upgraded version is the man-eater. Let's take a look here. So again, same passive abilities. Again, ignore the HP recover because I'm getting that from gear. But numb crunch, so a little bit stronger ability, and then you get an extra 5% chance on top of the 20 to inflict paralyze. Here's the strong numb powder, so you get a little bit better range out of this. It looks like it's a little bit more accurate as well. Unfortunately, you still can't use it after you've moved. And then again, I don't know did I say it's got a little bit better range as well, or you can use it from farther away. And then you've got stone gaze, so it deals major damage to a single. Yeah, I mean that is a lot. That's 150. Pretty accurate as well. It deals major damage to a single adjacent enemy unit. Has a 20% of inflicting petrify. Petrify is great, but I mean, it actually is really good. That's unfortunately though that it's only 20%. But all right, that is the second tier. So let's take a look at the third tier. So this actually requires the infernal eyeball, which kind of stinks, but because they can be a little bit tough to get a hold of at the beginning of the game, but also these guys you have to be level 20 in order to get them. Actually, no, that's not true. You can get these at level 10, right? Yeah, because you can go man-eater and then just go boom right to basilisk. That's my bad. Yeah, you actually can get these guys right at level 10. That actually would be amazing. Or you can do it right at level 1 like I'm doing here, but you have to have the missing link. So, unlikely that you're going to be able to get these guys at level 1. But, all right, let's take a look here. So now here, I'm not so wild about this. They lose paralyze immunity and gain petrify immunity instead. Now, you don't run into as many enemies that can petrify you, and so I actually don't like this change. Their forced HP recovery goes all the way up to S though, so that's even better. Obviously, it was only A before, so you're gonna restore a little bit more health if you're sitting inside of a forest. But yeah, I'm not wild about the change to the petrify immunity. That actually is kind of a drag, but so be it. All right, so petrify crunch, a little bit stronger, but still only a 20% of inflicting, petrify. Heavy numb powder, so 4 range, and then actually a little bit more accurate as well, and then the 25% chance of inflicting paralyze. So that hasn't changed. But here is Gorgon Gaze, and this is kind of nuts. Deals major damage to a single adjacent enemy unit. It's very, very accurate, and has a 40% chance of inflicting petrify. These guys really are amazing. Unfortunately, though, 110 MP cost. With well, I guess this character is still only level 1, but 179 MP. So you're not going to be casting that a whole lot, but. These guys are amazing. I'm hesitant with the petrify immunity. That kind of stinks. But all right, let's move on to the Gigas. These guys are interesting. So these are basically the old the giants. I don't like them as much. Just kidding. I actually really like these guys a lot. The only kind of drag is the giant used to be able to, you could branch off into two different, you know, more of a, you could go Thor or you could go Loki, and the Loki had or was able to cast Meteor Doom, which probably was like, you know, they were amazing because they had really high HP totals, and so they were perfect for the front line. But that has all changed, and unfortunately you can't do that anymore. Oops, I went into the wrong thing, as I always do. So let's take a look here. I've got some really amazing equipment here though on these guys. So the Infernal Knuckles are great because they have the 10% accuracy. Adamantine armor, you know, gives you the HP recover A. Does that add, that adds accuracy as well? What? It does. Oh my god. Yeah, so this combination is amazing. You get 20% accuracy with these guys with this combo. The crown here of Drassel inflicts paralyze immunity. Again, I you know, paralyze is the most, or well, maybe it's the second most brutal status effect next to petrify, but it gets used a lot more often, so that's great. Otherwise, you go with, you know, again, the protection band to get inflict or to get inorganic body. But all right, pretty basic here though. Power Fist, normal attack, deals a moderate damage to a single adjacent enemy unit. It has a 25% chance of inflicting feint. Feint is great. You know, it's basically a stun. The stun will, however, wear off once that character is dealt more damage, so it's not as good as like a petrify or a paralyze, yeah, I guess, or a petrify, but still really good. The only problem with these guys is they've got a really low agility, and so they miss a lot. But really good attack, really good defense, and look at that HP total at level 1, 624. I mean, these guys are beasts. All right, so let's get this guy upgraded to the Cyclops, which they look even cooler, obviously. All right, so the Cyclops gets feint immunity. This is great. You know, there actually is a lot of units that will use feint on you as well, and so it's nice to be able to just be, you know, immune to that and get that from the class itself. So here's Hyper Fist, so a little bit stronger, but it also has a better chance of inflicting feint, so a 1 in 3. That's pretty decent. And then here's Heavy Impact. Deals a lot more damage. It's even more accurate as well. Unfortunately, it costs 40 MP, which these guys don't have a whole lot of MP, but you'll be able to use this a couple of times in battle. And then, but this actually is really amazing. 33% chance of inflicting feint and decreasing target's attack and defense. These guys are your front. I mean, they're amazing frontline brawlers, and being able to reduce attack and defense is fantastic. So, all right, let's get this guy upgraded all the way up to Titan, and we'll take a look here. Oops, I did it again. I did the wrong thing. You'd think I'd get better at this, but I'm getting worse. So here he gets counter damage up S, so increases damage done by counterattacks by 20%. Again, this guy, I mean, these guys are basically designed to take, you know, hits, and you know, yeah, being able to hit even harder is amazing. And then they also get accuracy 10%. These guys are amazing, no joke. So, you know, feint immunity, counter damage, and then accuracy. Again, I'm getting these two from my gear, but HP recovery is amazing, right? You know, 5% max HP on an enemy or on a unit that's got a ton of health is even better. And then I'm getting the paralyzed immunity again from my gear. But ultimate fist is pretty good, 125. That's pretty powerful, pretty accurate as well. 33% chance of inflicting feint, so nothing's changed there. Here is where it gets a little bit crazy, though. Earth Impact, so this has a 50% chance of inflicting feint and decreasing target's attack and defense. So that's basically just an upgrade over the prior version. And then Ragnarok. Ragnarok is amazing. Deals major damage to all units in a 2-hex straight line. This is a very, very short, kind of like a breath attack. and then the 33% chance of inflicting faint, but it also never misses. Amazing, amazing skill. The fact that it never misses is just nuts. You know, and if you clip 2 enemies, there's a pretty good chance that that at least one of those are gonna, you know, end up with the feint. Unfortunately, though, 60 MP, so it's gonna be tough to cast this a whole lot in battle. But yeah, amazing, amazing ability. These guys really are fantastic frontliners. All right, so next up is the Hellhounds, or I guess technically it's called the High Dog. That's just stupid. Who named that? I'm sorry, whoever that is, but that was a really poor choice. These guys are great because they are very evasive. Yeah, 57 agility, which is really good. So they start out with. Do they really start out with double? Yeah, they start out with double movement. So again, basically, this is hit and run, right? You can hit them, or you can run out to the enemy, hit them, and then come back. Or just, you know, if you're on the front line, you can hit them and then whatever, retreat if you feel like you need to. I'm getting the HP recover from the Wild Fangs, which here's the gear setup. Again, I'm not going to talk too much about the accessory because generally you want to go with, you know, inorganic body if you can get that. But HP recover, you know, this isn't as effective because these guys just don't have that much health. But, you know, getting HP recovery over not getting it is better. So. And then you get 5%, you know, evasion off of the chest and 5% evasion off of the gloves. So, you know, already making an already very evasive unit even more so. As far as their attacks, though, they only get Killer Bite up until level 10. You know, nothing too fancy here, not super strong, but, you know, somewhat accurate. So, all right, let's get this guy upgraded to the Hellhound and take a look at him. All right, so here he actually gets evasion up C, which again is going to make them, you know, harder to hit. Great ability. Oops. And then let's go to Hell Bite. You know, more accurate, a little bit more power. But then here we get Fire Burst. It's a very short range, you know, 2 hex straight line, but it, you know, doesn't miss though either. 50 MP means you're not probably going to be casting that a whole lot. Let's get this guy upgraded up to Fenrir. Fenrirs are fantastic. So these guys have evasion up B. You know, so there you have it. Increases evasion by 15%, making these guys, you know, fairly hard to hit. Deadly Bite, again, a little bit stronger, a little bit more accurate. But then you get 2 actually breath attacks to choose from. Which is kind of interesting, right? You can do, you know what? They should have gave these guys. Gave these guys another head. Honestly, that was a missed opportunity as well. You could have gone with the fire, fire, and then the dark. But yeah. So, anyways, 3 hex. These don't, you know, because they're breath attacks, they're not going to miss. And then the Dark Infernal has just a little bit more damage. But it's the black element instead. So, again, I like these guys because they're very evasive and they're cheap. So if you notice there, wow, I didn't notice that these guys are the same cost. That's wild. Okay. All right, so the Goblins. These guys are interesting. I actually like them a little bit because of their ability to paralyze. They don't get it though right away. Let's take a look here. Yeah, they don't have any specific abilities. But they do have Poison Slash right at level 1. So here it does you know, minor damage, 20% a chance of inflicting poison. Again, I don't really like poison. I think that's the worst stats effect in the game. But then here we do get, they do have Paralyzed Wave right at the beginning. This is it costs no MP. The only problem is they can't move before they use it, right? So you know, that limits its use a little bit. The other problem with these guys so it does do the 20% chance of inflicting paralyze in 1 to 2 range. So you can kind of snipe these guys from behind a tank. And I think that's the best place for these guys is really actually in the second row because they just don't have a whole lot of health. 369 HP at level 1 is not good. So, you know, really not a frontliner. Their agility kind of isn't so great though either, so it can be tough to connect a little bit with these guys. But that paralyze is amazing, and being able to paralyze from, you know, farther away is pretty nice. So, all right, let's get this guy upgraded, and we'll take a look at his stats. So he still hasn't, you know, inherited any abilities. I actually don't think that they do. But here's Plague Slash. This is a little bit stronger, you know, 30% chance now of inflicting poison, so a little bit better, which again I don't really care about. But here, Despair Wave, 1 to 3 range, so you can really start, you know, get into the back lines with this ability, and a 25% now chance of inflicting paralyze. So fantastic. Yeah, that second tier is when they start really getting good. So alright, let's get him upgraded and take a look here. So he gets crit rate up B, which is actually really, really nice. It's really nice to be able to crit with these guys. And when you crit, I believe, that is when the paralyze will trigger. So it's nice to have that, you know, inherent crit rate. So here's Shadow Slash, 50% now of inflicting poison, which again I still don't really care that much about. Reaper Wave, here is still your free, you know, chance at inflicting paralysis. 25% chance, you know, 3 hexes away, not bad. But here Abaddon Wave? Is that Abaddon? Anyway. 3 hex radius, very, very good range on this, and a 33% chance of inflicting paralyze. And it's very cheap, 16 MP. That's not too bad. Unfortunately, they don't have a whole lot of MP anyway, so the fact that it's, you know, super cheap is, you could probably still get what, 3, maybe 4 of these off in a battle. Their best weapon is the hunting knife, 10% crit rate, so that's gonna, you know, help you land some status effects more often. Here is the, you know, and then we're just getting evasion out of the rest. That's about it for these guys. Again, I think that, you know, unfortunately, though, they don't have a whole lot of HP, and so they don't make good frontliners, but they do make a really good secondary line character. So, all right, here we're getting into the bottom tiers. So, here's the Rock. Rocks I don't like. I barely ever use these guys. Dominate Mountain is, I mean, it's interesting, but I barely ever fight in the mountains. I'm usually on the plains or in the forest, so this isn't that great. Increases damage dealt by 20% against unit with preferred... Oops, you know what? That's my bad. It's not whether or not you're in the mountains or not. It's against the items, or the units with preferred terrain mountains, so that's my bad. There's plenty of you know, this actually is really good. I forgot about that. Yeah, it's not whether or not you're in the mountains or not. This is just good against specific enemies. I think it's probably good against. Is it the Titan? Is Titan these guys? Yeah. So there you have it. Preferred terrain is mountain on these guys. So the rocks actually are really, really good against these guys. Probably. Oh, these are forests. These are the plain, forest, swamp, forest, plain. Wait, what? Is it really only the... Shut up. Is it really only the Cyclops? Come on. Sky. Wow. Is that really it? Okay. Holy shit. Oh, there's another one. Okay, so there's two units that's good against. It's against the Golem and the Cyclops. Okay. Alright, well, whatever. Anyways, let's go back. Let's go back. Wow, that's okay. So that's too. I feel like that's too situational to really talk that much about, or to be impressed by. Big Claw, moderate damage to a single adjacent enemy unit. Okay, that's actually pretty strong for a base attack. And then Big Roar, deals minor damage to all units within a 2 hex radius. Never misses. 20% chance of inflicted faint. I mean, this is another one of those deals where, you know, in order to use this, you have to be away from your allies, or you want to be away from your allies. And then probably, what, surrounded? It's just, you know, this isn't a good ability because of that. the fact that it doesn't miss is pretty nice, but it's also really weak. 20% chance though of inflicting faint. That's you know, nice, but so you're gonna be able to cast that twice at level 1. I mean, that'll really rank up, but you know, I don't like these abilities that are, you know, AoEs that will hit your allies as well. It's just not good. All right, so let's get this guy upgraded. So you can do one of two things with the rock. You can go Phoenix or you can go Simurgh. I'm not going to reset again. I'm actually just not going to upgrade, you know, to the Simurgh. I'll upgrade to the Phoenix just so that you can take a look at it. But all right, so anyways, Assault Claw is actually, this is a pretty strong attack. This is actually very, very strong. I should say, like, physically, they do hit harder than a Phoenix does. And then here's Sonic Roar. So this is basically an upgraded version of Big Roar. So it's got the 33% chance of inflicting faint. And then Dominate Mode S. So a lot more damage against those Cyclops and Golems. Again, only 2 units in the game that have that as preferred terrain. Not great. I don't know if like there's probably like equipment maybe that you can get that on knights as well, but I doubt that that's equipped much. I don't ever remember that, you know, being the case for enemy, you know, knights. But I suppose it's at least a possibility. But all right, so let's get this guy upgraded. I'm actually gonna, you know, I'll do the Phoenix because I think the Phoenix is better. So, oops, there we are. Okay, so why are they better? Well, HP Recover S, so recovers 10% of max HP at the beginning of every turn. That's fantastic. You know what? I want to see something. I don't. Oh yeah, they can do this. Okay. So we could equip them with the weapons that inflict faint. That actually is pretty good. And then you could probably just get some, yeah, I'll be able to get some evasion out of the rest of our gear. All right, let's go back. Let's go back into this. Again, you know, 10% of the max HP, and they have a, God, Jesus, they have a decent amount of HP as well. So, you know, this actually is pretty nice. I'm getting Inflict Faint from the Lightning Talons. All right, so Flame Claws. Again, this isn't as strong actually as Assault Claw that the Simurgh gets, but you know, still really good, and also they have Healing Roar. Now this will affect enemy units as well, but there's actually there's a lot of times where, you know, Healing Roar I think can come in useful. I mean, again, depending on how you set up your characters, there's a good chance that, like, okay, you might clip one, you might heal one enemy character, but you can probably like heal 5 of yours, and so it's probably worth it at the end of the day to use this. And then they've also got Flame, which is just a nuke that you can use, you know, 1 to 3 hexes away. These guys are actually really, really good frontliners. Because of the you know, the HP recover, they've got a decent amount of HP, decent attack, decent defense, blah blah blah. Yeah, so I think that's about it though for these guys, or for the Phoenix, just because you know, again, I think that they make really good frontliners, but the problem is you have to pick one route to go with these guys, and then that's where they end at, and so they don't get a 3rd tier class. But all right, anyways, let's move on. Actually, yeah, I feel like I could have maybe tossed these guys up into a higher tier, but I don't know. It's tough. The thing that stinks about the Rock and the Phoenix is that they lost their Petrify ability from the other versions of the game. That's, you know, that's kind of a stink, or that's a heck of a loss, but still pretty good as a Phoenix. So, all right, let's talk the Giant Snake. I don't use these guys ever. The problem with these guys is they've got some situational abilities. HP Recover or water HP recover. There's certain areas where this kind of can come in handy, but it's just too situational, I think, to be very good. Excuse me. Snake Bite, meh, not very impressive. Aqua Splash, though, here's a breath attack. 3 hexes is pretty good. 40 MP, that's pretty cheap. But, you know, can't be used, obviously, after you've moved. Nothing too fancy there. They're very, very similar to dragons. You know, very, very beefy as well. But, yeah, and blue elements, so, meh. Whoops, going into the wrong thing again, because I always have to. It's a requirement now. Cold Bite. Moderate damage to single enemy units. Water Breath. Basically, this is just an upgraded version of their breath attack. It can, you know, reach 1 tile farther. Still pretty weak with a power of 80. Here, Water Storm. When on water, deals major damage to all units within a 2x radius. Never misses. 20% chance of inflicting faint. That is really, really good. But you know, you have to be in the water, and this is going to hit your allies as well. So, not a fan of those type of attacks, unfortunately. So, all right, let's get this guy upgraded to the Hydra, which, by the way, was the original version of the game. Their base class was called the Hydra, and they were really good in the first one. They were so strong. They had a really good physical attack. So here their water HP recovery gets upgraded, you know, to S. So you'll be, yeah, healing 15% of your max HP. That's really good. Pentabite, very, very strong, very, very accurate as well. And then Tidal Breath, again, this is just a, you know, an upgraded breath. Now that's even 1 range farther, so that's up to 5 hot tiles away. You know, at a certain point though, that gets pretty meh. You know, I mean, that's cool, but you know, most of the time you're not going to be using your breath attacks on something that's 5 tiles away. It's, yeah, so whatever. It's kind of cool, I suppose. And then here, Tidal Storm just gets upgraded. It deals more damage. It's a little bit more expensive. Still, though, the same chance of inflicting faint, so that's kind of a drag. But yeah, again, the problem with these guys is they're just too situational. Too many of their abilities require you to be in water, and I don't find that to be so great. All right, let's move on. Dragons. I'll be honest. I think of all the different the classes in the game or monsters in the game, the dragon was the most disappointing. They've been nerfed into the ground, where they're to the point where I really don't even find them useful at all. Really, they're just so expensive, and their breath attacks are just not good enough to merit their cost. And also even their base attack here, Dragon Fury, the attack power is only 105. That seems really, really weak for such an expensive monster. Acid Breath, 80 power. You know, as with the breath attacks in the game, you can't move. And 1 to 3 hexes. It's okay, not bad. MP cost though is 50. That's pretty high for, you know, you're only going to be able to get that. Or you'd only be able to get 2 casts out of that basically at the beginning of the game, so not impressive. I did, you know, so they at least have the lightning talons, and they can equip the adamantine armor as well. So they've got really, really good gear options, I suppose, at the very least. And again, like, you know, lightning talons just makes it, I mean, they're amazing on the front line, right? And they, you know, so you're going to be able to sometimes you know, feint, or use the feint ability, or trigger feint, I suppose, on enemies that attack you. You know, and then you're probably going to be using some breath attacks as well. But yeah, you know, they're at least they're some of their weaknesses in how expensive they are, and they're not so great. You know, damage on breath attacks is made up for in their gear options. But all right, let's get this guy upgraded. So here you've got all kinds of different, you know, options, which I thought actually was kind of cool. This is very similar to the, you know, prior iterations of the game where you get to pick, you know, which version of your dragon you want. So you can do a fire dragon, you can do a frost dragon, thunder dragon, holy, or dark. I don't know off the top of my head which one's the best. I had some. I kind of liked the Thunder Dragon. It seemed like green was pretty good, but I suppose a holy would be, you know, good or bad. I suppose it depends on your frame of reference there against Tim. Tim is you know, a black elemental leader. The Dark Dragon would be good against Rudo, although again that also means that you're going to take more damage. So kind of up to you. But let's upgrade to a Thunder Dragon. This is, I think, the first one that I upgraded, and we'll take a look here. Alright, so you don't get any new abilities. Again, this is all stuff from my gear. Skills, so Electric Fury, you know, obviously upgraded, stronger, and also more accurate. The Breath Attack, you know, gains, what, 10 power as well? And then gains 1 on the range as well, but also costs, right? It costs more, right? Yeah, that's 25 more MP. So that's actually pretty expensive. Yeah, so I don't know. That's that. Now here's where things get really weird. All right, so let's get him upgraded. You only ever upgrade up into the Ancient Dragon, and now look at the elements though. It turns this thing into from a green element, obviously, because we're going from Thunder Dragon, to only one that has red. And every third tier of the dragon, it behaves this way. I have no idea why they did this. Every one of these ancient dragons should have been, you know, they're an upgrade from their base class. Not just always fire. That's really lame. Again, I don't really understand why they did that. It seems maybe they were just being lazy. I don't know. Yeah, just very, very strange to do that. No idea what they were thinking. But all right. Anyways, they look cool. All right, so here we've got Flame Lords. I suppose, yeah, you'd have to write new or different. I mean, come on, that's just lazy. I'm sorry, that's lazy. I love you guys, but that's lazy. 135 power, so that's pretty good. Pretty accurate as well. Ultimate Flare. What am I? Massive damage. Okay, massive damage to a single enemy unit. Can't, you know, be used before you or after you've moved. But yeah, 180, that's pretty good, and very, very accurate. And then here's their upgraded breath attack. So, you know, a little bit more damage, and then 1 more range again, and all the way up to 5. And then the 80, you know, MP. So just a little bit, 5 more MP for a pretty decent upgrade on that. So again, though, the problem with these guys is, and then there you have it, their final cost is 125. That's very, very expensive for a really, really crappy breath attack. That second physical ability, you know, prior to moving is very strong as well. But again, honestly, just a huge letdown in my opinion for these guys. All right, so let's move on to the Lizard Man. I honestly don't really like these guys that much. You know, they're kind of interesting because they've got shield blocks, so they can really take some hits, and they actually do. I mean, look at this guy's got 558 HP at level 1. That's pretty decent. I mean, that's definitely frontliner you know, stats. But lefty swing is not impressive. Only 90 power. It's fairly accurate, though. That's kind of what you're getting out of these guys. You're getting somebody that's really accurate and actually can take some really good hits because of shield block. Let's get this guy upgraded. The only problem is with these guys, in my opinion, is they're not really interesting. They don't have any ability to do like cess effects, no breath attack. You know. Yeah, it seems pretty lame. All right, let's get back in here. So here's did they have shield block B before, or was it always shield block A? I don't remember. I don't know if this upgrades. I wasn't paying attention. But here at Hunter Swing, a little bit stronger, probably a little bit more accurate. You know, just nothing to these guys. So let's get this guy upgraded to the Lizard Lord. So this takes the champion medal. That's probably the problem, or the biggest problem with these guys, is it can be tough to get these, especially at the beginning of the game. Alright, so let's, oops, back here. There we go. Alright, so now we've upgraded to shield block S. So that's going to trigger, you know, a 25% chance of blocking with a shield when triggered damage is reduced by half. Actually, that's really good. And then they do get double action. So that's the most interesting thing about these guys is they can you know take 2 actions in a turn. So that is really cool. But you know, again, they don't do anything else. They just swing. So here's Glory Swing, 110 power. You know, pretty weak, but very accurate. One other thing though. All right, so let's talk their gear. So the Inferno Axe, in my opinion, is the best. 10 attack, 50 HP, and then 7 accuracy. So that already kind of like heightens what they're already good at, right? They want to be on the front line, dealing some damage. The Azure Scale Cuirass, you're really only going to get, you know, some evasion out of this. There's 10 defense and 15 HP. Their best gloves, though, 7 defense, 5 evasion, and then passive skill shield block rate plus 10%. You know, these things were basically made for these guys, and you know, it does increase their chances of blocking. I don't know if this is additive. It's probably additive and not multiplicative, right? So it's probably then a 35% chance of blocking with a shield. That's my guess anyway. I've not tested that at all, and I'm not going to. But all right, let's move on. Let's take a look at the centaurs. All right, so the centaurs, you know, I don't know. These guys are okay. Honestly, I don't really use them that much because I like some of the other, you know, I guess classes more. But they do have Dominate Sky, so this is, you know, they're great for taking down flyers like, you know, Wyverns, Pegasus, angels. There's a lot of flyers. So, you know, deals increased 10% increased damage to them, which is, you know, interesting. Pretty basic though. Hunter Shot, you know, 90 power, not so great, but 1 to 2 range, meaning, you know, if you're far enough away, you won't get countered. So, that's probably the best part about these guys. I think, man, you know, 374 HP is not that good. So, not really a frontliner, and they're probably not going to work well on your front line. Bows are pretty lame. There's nothing really fancy about these, although, so this is the Phoenix Feller. Attack 30 is pretty high, and then 8 agility, so that's going to help you be more accurate, and then 1 mobility though as well. That's actually pretty good. It's just no status effect, which I really would have liked to see on these guys, and I think that would have made them a lot better. But you know, 5% evasion, and then you're really getting just a 5% out of the gloves as well. All right, let's get this guy upgraded. Only 1 upgrade, which, you know, again, kind of lame. That's but whatever. Dominate Sky, I think that, yeah, that got upgraded. So that's you know, 30% damage or 30% extra damage to enemies. Or flyers, so that's actually really good. Oops. And then Killer Shot. So yeah, definitely upgraded just a little bit. You know, a little bit more power, a little bit. I think that might be a little bit more accurate as well. But the range gets even better though. So that's got a 3 range. So yeah, you know, not bad. Honestly, not bad. And there's a lot of enemies that are flyers. So you know, that's at least better than the Dominate Sky jerks over here. Excuse me. And then on top of that, pretty cheap, 50 cost. That's really cheap. So not bad. All right, so let's move into what I consider the shit tier. So mean. Maybe not entirely fair, but I just don't like these things. So let's start with the golems. I hate the golems. I've always hated these things, especially in the other game as well. They're just not accurate. They miss all the time. 35 agility, that's terrible. They do have the inorganic body going for them though, so they're immune to status effects, which again, same deal as, you know, prior versions of the game, or whatever the prequels. I don't know even what you would consider those, but yeah, that's at least pretty nice. Here they get really helped out with their gear though. So this is the activation core, 20% accuracy. That's really good, and then 10% magic resistance as well. That's actually some of the best weapons in the game. Yeah, that's up there as far as best weapons in the game. 23 attack and 50 HP. That's just it synergizes really well with them because they're on the front line. And then here's the adamantine armor. Same deal here. Really, really strong. 10% more accuracy, so you can get 30% accuracy out of their gear. And then inflicts HP recover A. And, they're already very, very beefy, and to give them HP recover is really good as well. Excuse me. Sorry. Wow. All right. Golem punch. Pretty strong. 110. And then plus 6 accuracy. The problem again with these guys is they're just so inaccurate because of their agility that it's just tough to get them to connect with stuff, especially when you don't have the gear to help them out. Let's get this guy upgraded to the Iron Golem. Oops. Alright, so they gain Magic Barrier C. Increases magic resistance by 10% and decreases the chances of being infected. Well, that part of it doesn't matter. Decreases the chance of being inflicted with status conditions. There might be some that aren't covered by inorganic body. Maybe weakness and that kind of stuff? Yeah, maybe. I mean, that's probably something. Either way, magic resistance by 10%. That's pretty nice. Alright, again, rather have it than none. Iron Punch, this is upgrades a little bit more accurate, a little bit more damage, and then here's Rock Throw. So here you can start kind of using these guys to get into the back or the mid lines, right? Low accuracy though. This is gonna miss all the time. At least it's free. That's the only kind of saving grace from that. All right, let's get this guy upgraded to the Mithril Golem. The dwarves definitely made this baby. All right, let's. So Magic Barrier B, so this gets the upgrade just a little bit, increases your magic resistance by 20, and reduces the stats effects by 20. Whoops, of course I would do that. Mithril Punch, again a little bit stronger, a little bit more accurate. Boulder Toss, this is 1 to 3 hexes, so here's you're really getting into the back lines with this baby. But again, still not so accurate, so expect to miss a lot. Can't be used after moving. And then here's Giant Punisher. So same deal here. You want to use this, or you can only use it before you move. Very strong though. 170. That thing is that's gonna hit pretty hard, and actually fairly accurate as well. So, that's it for the golems. Not much else to talk about there. I like the status immunity. That's cool, but I struggle to use these guys because they're so inaccurate. So. Alright, mermaids. These guys are terrible because they're the same with the Hydra. They get their benefits from the water. One nice thing though, I suppose, is they're immune to charm. Charm isn't that common, but I don't know. Again, one of those deals would rather have it than not have it. Splash Thrust. Kind of powerful, fairly accurate. And then here's Charm Song though. Charm Song's really good. Inflicts charm on a single enemy unit within a 3 hex radius, but while the caster is in the water. This would have been so good if it didn't have that water requirement. Though it's very expensive though too. 100 MP. Now they've got some they've got spells though to back themselves up though. So Spell Break here dispels all buffs and debuffs from any single unit within a 3 hex radius. Pretty okay ability. The kind of nice thing is at least you can use it from really far away, because you really want these, probably as far back as you can get them. Resist increases the magic resistance of a single ally unit within a 4 hex radius. Effect lasts 3 turns. So again, these guys are okay in the far back. And then flight. I usually never use flight. I use a lot of units that already have pretty decent movement already. All right, let's. Oh, actually, here, let me take a look at the. Yeah, okay. Let's get this. Oh crap! I can't upgrade now. I've run out of items again, haven't I? Okay, let's. Dang it. Yeah, now I gotta move my units around too because I went over because I upgraded so much of this stuff. All right, so let's. I'll get my game reloaded back here so that we can upgrade the rest of these units. There we go. Let's get these units spread out. There we go. All right, let's load. Oops. There we are. This is like my junk file where I put a bunch of you know, I got a bunch of these monsters that I'm never gonna use for anything. Let's get back into it here. Units. All right, so we were on the siren. Let's get her upgraded. Man, this video is getting so long. Oh my god, I just realized that now. Alright, so still, you know, charm immunity, nothing added there. Aqua thrust, a little bit stronger, a little bit more accurate. Here's lure song. Again, charm, a little bit farther, you know, radius that you can use this on. Still 100 MP though. Here's maelstrom is nuts. 210 power. You know, it's an AoE, 45 MP, 25% chance of inflicting. I think this is the same as the Hydra. I think it's the same as the Hydras. But again, you got to be in the water, and this is actually gonna, you know, hit your allies as well. So, you know, at least with the Hydra, they're beefy enough where you can maybe kind of be surrounded and might, you know, you might live a turn or two, but not these guys. These are just, they're too weak. You know, 307 HP at level 1 is terrible. But they do get frost. You know, pretty nice attack spell. You know, if you've got these really far back, you can actually still reach your kind of like the enemy front line to nuke with these guys. Spell break, resist flight, you know, so we've already been over those. But yeah, frost is a pretty good addition here. I guess at the very least they're fairly cheap, 55 for a frost spell, but you know, I don't know. Too low of HP for my taste. Their MP is obviously not so great though either. All right, so here's the elemental. All right, elementals are the this game's version of the Djinn. I'll be honest. While I still hate them, they're way better. They have vastly increased their usefulness in this game, and I'll be honest, they are pretty good. I just don't like them because they have very little HP. They can at least, again, you know, this time around they can counter. The Djinn from the other versions of the game couldn't even counter, which made them just garbage tier. You know, and then on top of that, these guys at least can do something when they run out of MP. Again, in the other version of the game, once you ran out of MP with your Djinn, they were done. They literally couldn't do anything else. So at least these guys get float charge, you know, and they can still, you know, hit the enemy once they, or if they run out of MP. Prism shot though, look at this, 130 power for 40 MP. That's really good. That's really cheap and really strong. The range isn't so great, only 1 to 2, but you know, not bad. I just don't like using these because it's just not my game style, my style of play, right? I like to have a strong front line, you know, and then my healers or casters like in the second line and going back. And these guys, you know, unless you want to nuke your own front line, you need to be on the front line with them. So. But they just don't have the health to stand up really well on the front line. 372, that's not good. So, all right, let's get this guy upgraded. Basically, you just pick which element you want, you know, to deal damage with. So again, like, you know, white element would probably be good against like Tim, or I mean, it would hit him at least very hard. But he's also probably going to do a one-shot at you. And then, like, you know, black element would be good against Rudo, but same deal. If you've got this thing on the front line, it's just gonna get one shot. So, let's make a green one. Very, very particular to green elemental. Okay. Is that right? Immune to charm? Nope. Okay, I'm getting that from its armor. Okay. Activation core, you know, accuracy. Here's some evasion, some more evasion from the gear. That's probably their best gear. Electro charge, a little bit stronger, a little bit more accurate, and then electro shot, 145. That's pretty good. Range 1 to 3 again. I mean, that's obviously it's getting an extra range out of its breath attack, and then 50 MP. So, you know, all in all, not too bad. I mean, I suppose only at level 1 here. We're only getting two shots of that, but pretty strong. But again, I just think for the style of play, this doesn't match me at all. I actually just hate these things. All right, so here's the ghoul. These things are just completely crap. I actually liked the Legend of Fursenna and the Grand Edition versions of these a little bit better, because at least you'd end up with a vampire. But here the Lich is the final unit, and it's just not as good. But let's take a look here. So I've at least got Inflict Feint on him. The problem with these guys is, I mean, you're not likely to have these, you know, early on in the game. But even then, you probably don't really want to be equipping these on your ghouls, because they're so crappy and so weak that you're probably just going to end up losing this stuff. So, you know, I definitely don't actually recommend probably equipping the... I mean, I don't recommend using them at all, but Bone Smash, 95 power, that's pretty bad. And then 6 accuracy. You know, but also, like, what can you expect out of a unit that only costs 15? At the beginning of the game, you can probably throw a couple of these in your parties just to chew up or soak some damage, and, like, just, you know, throw them at the enemy. All right, so let's get this guy upgraded. Why, I don't know. I don't know why I wouldn't want to upgrade this guy, but let's do that. Oops, what am I doing here? Oh, I went into the wrong thing. Because why wouldn't I? All right, so let's... God. All right, here's the Revenant. Yeah, I really need to go back to bed. All right, so here's that Drain Touch. So at least... Oh, did they... Hang on a second here. What's wrong with me? What is wrong with me? Yeah, okay, so they... Okay, yeah, their first like attack ability doesn't drain like the second tier does. Yeah, okay. Like I said, oh, that's weird. I don't know why I thought it did. I think that was the case in the earlier versions of the game too. I keep saying that, the earlier version. They're not. I mean, it's not the same game. So I don't know why I'm saying that. But anyway. Did they get HP recover? Yeah, he does. Okay. So that's kind of cool too. He does get HP recover just by, you know, hitting that second tier, and then Drain Touch. So this is basically just an upgrade, and it also, you know, steals some life. You know, there's pretty, I guess, somewhat accurate as well. Let's get this guy upgraded to the Lich. Okay, HP Recover S. So, you know, 10% max HP at the beginning of every turn. It looks like, oh, his weapon changes. Okay, let's see. Oh, that sucks, actually. Well, whatever. So, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. I suppose maybe, so, this enemy might be the best. This might be the best candidate for the ancestral staff. 25 attack, counter damage, 5%, and 5 agility. I was just trying to think of what is an enemy, or what enemy, or what, Jesus, what monster would I want to use this on, or character? Yeah, it's a frontliner. Yeah, I guess maybe that. It's like the one enemy that would be useful for. Yeah, nothing else interesting though here with their gear. They just don't have good options. Yeah, these guys are just not good. All right, let's take a look at their skills. So life drain, same. I mean, this is a little bit stronger, a little bit more accurate, and you know it keeps the drain 20%. Necro Scream deals moderate damage to a single enemy unit within a 2 hex range. This is basically Bat Attack, right? From the other version of the game, and then here you. Okay, this guy's a lot actually closer to the old vampire than I thought. Yeah, there's Necro Rebirth. I really don't like this ability because it means that you had to have, or one of your monsters had to die to even use this, and then on top of that, it's really expensive as well. But and then it actually has venom as well, which again, I don't love poison, but you could at least use venom. Venom's got a really good range. You could, you know, finish off potentially an enemy with this. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, this is basically Bat Attack. Yeah, these guys are. I mean, they're a lot more similar to the vampire than I guess I. Oh, wait, they weren't called vampire, right? Was it Vampire Lord? Anyways. Yeah, a lot closer to them than I thought. Man, yeah, I don't know. 70 for the cost. Yeah, I don't know. I would rather have like a upgraded Gigas, honestly, than these guys. But yeah, that's it. That is going to be it for this one. That is all of the units. That's again, these are kind of my tiers. Obviously, these got swapped around. This is actually my second tier, but that is going to be it for this one. As always, gosh, this got so long. As always, hope the guide was helpful, and hope you join me for more videos. Thanks for watching.